Letter carriers often work years, sometimes decades, in the same neighborhood. Over those years, they become like family to the communities that they serve. And their commitment to those communities, both on and off the job, is something of legend. James Robledo carried mail in the town of Whittier, California for 25 years, retiring in 2009. He met his wife, Lourdes, who is also a letter carrier, while working at the post office. But the roots of this story go back many years before James became a letter carrier.
I am a proud American veteran. I served in the military in the U.S. Army from 1967 to 1970. I spent 1 year in Vietnam.
The time that James spent in combat left emotional scars that didn't reveal themselves for many years. It wasn't until after his retirement from the Postal Service that he started to experience symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder.
Being a letter carrier kept me busy all the time. My PTSD, which was there, was never able to surface because I had so much going on. You know, working hard and meeting people, talking with people. I never thought about PTSD or my experiences in the war. Because I would be out there, I would see people every day, the same people. I would actually become part of their life because they knew what time I was going to be there. I saw their children born, I saw their children grow up. I saw good dogs turn bad dogs turn good, and it was a very rewarding experience. When I retired from the Postal Service, I woke up and all of a sudden, I didn't have to get up early anymore or do anything, be anywhere, punch a time clock. So that's when PTSD snuck up and hit me.
He was active in going to the USO and just listening to these young kids coming back from seeing ungodly things in Afghanistan and Iraq. And so I'm sure all of that brought to the surface a lot of the issues that he had from coming back from Vietnam and what he saw.
I know for me, it made me wake up in the middle of the night for no reason at all. I would get angry quickly. I never felt happy. I was pretty much depressed. Physically, I was fit, but I didn't want to do anything. Stuff that I used to like to do, I stopped doing it.
I noticed a little bit of a change in him in that I was thinking, oh my Lord, how am I going to get through this retirement of his? Because he was always calling me or texting me, when are you coming home? When are you coming home?
The PTSD became too much for James to bear. He sought help from the Veterans Administration at the nearby Loma Linda Veterans Medical Center.
The VA gave me some therapy and some one-on-one. I learned, I went to the sleep deprivation classes. I went to anger management classes. I learned how to chant. I learned how to hug a pillow, and all this helped, but it didn't help enough. I know that PTSD affects just about every combat veteran. I noticed things in my father, because he was a World War II veteran. He came back, he didn't do much sometimes, but he would pick up his guitar and he would play it and he would turn him into a new person. So one of my therapists said there was a program out there where they would teach veterans with PTSD how to play a guitar. Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
That program is part of a nationwide nonprofit called Guitars for Vets, and the chapter at Loma Linda is one of many throughout the country. James embraced the guitar classes and became hooked.
Everybody wants to play a guitar, first of all. Now, if you look at a guitar, it's made out of wood, the strings, and it's warm wood. It's not hard metal. And you hold it against yourself, and you start to strum it, and you can feel the vibrations penetrating the wood and the strings. So it's making you feel the vibration, and you become peaceful with it. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. And when you learn how to get the chords together to make a song, that's even better. You might not know how to sing well, but you're playing and you're singing to yourself, and that's great. A bright, sunshiny day is gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
He became involved with them, and I noticed I was getting fewer and fewer phone calls, and he had a purpose for his day. And started getting more outgoing. Now he sings and plays guitar in front of a public audience, which is totally amazing to me.
The change in James was dramatic. He began to enjoy life again, spending time with his family and traveling to places that he had always wanted to visit.
And it did so much for me that I wanted to give back. I wanted to help the program. So when I was asked to become part of the staff, I said, yes, I'll do it.
James became the quartermaster for the chapter, maintaining all of the student guitars, and was later asked to become an instructor.
I became an instructor for the program and had students of my own to teach. These students are all PTSD patients, as I am, so I understand what they're going through and they understand what I went through.
With the guitar playing, I get chills, tingling in my fingers. I mean, I'm feeling myself again, and it feels great. I go home, and I have fun trying to practice and playing. I know I'm messing up, but I get a smile, and that's important. We're a family. Yes, I waited 40 years for this. It's paying off.
When the chapter coordinator's position became open, James stepped up to that as well. All of these volunteer roles keep him very busy, but he looks at them as important ways to give back to the program that has given him so much.
I felt it was an obligation, and I soon learned that it wasn't an obligation, it was a passion. I got really involved with it, and I'm still involved with it.
So I'm really proud of him. Sometimes it's like, oh, this is too much, but I think he really likes it.
In October of 2015, James Robledo's union, the National Association of Letter Carriers, honored his extraordinary commitment to his fellow veterans by naming him their Humanitarian of the Year. As part of this recognition, and as a veteran, he had the additional honor of placing a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns at Arlington National Cemetery.
It's very rewarding. If you talk to any of these students during their classes or after they graduate, they all say, thank you, thank you, thank you.
While James Robledo was serving his country in Vietnam, San Francisco letter carrier Kim Trong was a child living in Vietnam. Memories of that time in his life are both vivid and painful.
I was down when I was a little kid. I've been out for 9 days without food, and I know how that feels, to be hungry.
Kim's parents had emigrated to Vietnam from their native China before Kim and his siblings were born.
My parents told me then they left China because China was a communist country back then. And the reason they left China to Vietnam because they want to establish a new life.
Kim's family lived in Vietnam for many years, but his parents' attempt to escape life under communist rule was cut short when Saigon fell to the communist government of the North. In 1979, the family made the difficult decision to leave.
Kim has a very interesting history. He was a child during the Vietnam War. So he and his family took a very dangerous journey across the oceans to try to escape the communist regime.
Like many Vietnamese refugees, Kim's family was part of a great migration of people who left Vietnam in small boats with only the clothes on their backs. They were commonly known as boat people.
We are escaped from Vietnam. We are escaped from Vietnam. We are not on a tour. We're not on a tour. We got whatever, get out of there safely. That's all we need, because we don't want to live under communism. And we kind of afraid, but my father want whatever we do together. We die together. So, my father's determination just, hey, we're here together, we live together, we die together. So we went on this trip, this long journey together.
The family crowded with many others onto a small fishing boat, where they huddled in compartments normally used to transport fish. Throughout the 9-day journey to Indonesia, the boat owner continued to demand money from Kim's father, threatening to throw his family off the boat and into the ocean if he did not pay. There was no food at all, and only a small amount of ice to sustain them.
At that time I say, okay, well, how can you do this to people, Sometimes you don't get the point why one human being treat the other human being like that.
But it was a very perilous trip. They went for 9 days without having anything to eat. So once he did arrive to a country that would accept him, they were homeless.
It was in a refugee camp in Indonesia that tragedy struck. Kim's father suffered a heart attack and died, leaving his mother with 5 children to support on her own.
When my father passed away, I vowed my father's coffin, then I will do whatever it takes, to get my mom a better life when she comes to this country, which is United States.
After many months, the family finally reached San Francisco, where they joined cousins who helped them settle in the city's Chinatown district.
So at age 12, Kim was already working. He got a job in a restaurant washing dishes. So he did this so he could help his surviving parent, his mother.
I remember those days. I make $3 an hour, pay me cash, $3 an hour. Dishwasher. I work 10 hours every day. No, weekend. So I make $60, I give to my mom.
After working his way through high school and college, Kim took a job with the United States Postal Service as a letter carrier. His outgoing personality and generous spirit made him instantly popular with both his customers and his co-workers.
He's pretty popular with everyone. He knows everyone's names. We all know his drink. He always comes in with a smile. So we always love seeing Kim.
We get a lot of packages for our tenants and for us. And he just does a great job, and he's very friendly.
I'm proud to be a letter carrier. I love to help people. Whatever it makes people happy, and I give all the best, my best to give to the service to people that I deliver the mail to.
Although it's been many years since Kim and his family made the perilous journey from Vietnam, he's never forgotten where he came from and what it was like to be hungry. So for more than 20 years, Kim has worked tirelessly coordinating the annual Letter Carriers Stamp Out Hunger food drive in San Francisco.
Everybody should know me by now. I've been here pretty much every year for the food drive. Okay?
He visits every post office in the city in the weeks before the drive, encouraging his fellow carriers to promote the food drive to their customers.
Okay, and the more you talk to your customer, the more food we're going to get. It's time for our carrier to pay a little bit back to our community. That's all we're doing. That's what we're doing here.
When he speaks to the carriers, he's optimistic, he's telling them we're going to do well, and he actually shares a bit of his story with them. He tells the carriers, never forget where you came from. And he tells them that he himself went hungry when he was a child, and he knows what it feels like.
The food drive to me is very big because it bring me back when I first come to this country. I have nothing. You have to be there to know it, how it feels to be hungry. So now, it's my turn to pay back to the community where I live in. And when every food drive we bring a lot of food, it makes my heart open wider. Yeah, look at him right here. Look at that. You gotta take a picture of this. You gotta take a picture of that. Look at this. That's what I'm talking about.
Over the years, the food drive has really grown, and it demonstrates the support to the community, and from Kim, an ongoing commitment, because no one element gets it done. We're all gears on a big wheel that thinks people should be able to sit down and eat every day.
Kim's an amazing guy. His dedication for feeding the hungry goes well beyond the day of the drive. I learned this early on when I first met Kim. I had the opportunity to go to a training with him. And at the end of the training in the evening, a group of us went to dinner. So when dinner was over, I noticed Kim ordering another plate of food. But what he does with the food is he pulls me aside and he tells me, we're gonna go find a homeless person to give this food to. We walked, and then we found someone. So Kim approached this gentleman who was clearly homeless. He was in a stairwell. He looked like he was trying to, stay warm. And he brings the food to him, and the guy happily accepts it. So then Kim says, okay, we could go now. This is Kim. He is so dedicated to feeding the hungry. It's just not the day of the drive, it's how he lives his life.
I would say thank God to make me survive, and that's why my life is very grateful. That's why I have to, whatever I could to help people, I just help people.
When Kim left Vietnam, he never could have imagined what was in store for him. He has worked hard and done well. He and his wife, Alka Wong, have 2 children, Andrew and Katie, who are both college students. His mother is now 91 years old, and their family is as close as they were the day they left Vietnam in their quest to build a better life in the United States.
Good thing to help people. It makes your heart feel better. That's how my parents taught me. To share is a good thing to do. That's what I love to do, to help out in the food drive. Yeah.